You know, I always like to take this opportunity to talk about myself.
The man of the hour.
And let me tell you something, Daddy.
When you're the man, you make history every time you step foot in this ring.
And that's the bottom line.
Sweet Wrestling Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 102 of the Sweet Wrestling Podcast. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, it is a special one. All the topics will be on the ladies in wrestling. I'm talking NWA, WWE, NXT, Impact. We got a lot of topics to hop into. All about the ladies, yes indeed. I'm not gonna waste any time. I'm gonna hop right on into it. You can find me at linktr.ee/2sweetpod. Find me there. I've also talked about many things. Ran down an Elimination Chamber preview. I talked about Goldberg winning the title. You can find that at 2sweetpod on Periscope. So I'm not gonna waste any more time. I'm gonna hop right on into it. Ask the question on Twitter. I said, label what you love most about women's wrestling, or tweet out what you love most about women's wrestling. Got a response from the BCC Wrestle Pod at BCC Pod. He said the women's division across all promotions don't feel like they're set up in being commercial. Said you look at the men's division and there's so many part-time guys taking spots up, whereas the women's rosters all feel fresh and have room for growth across the board. Not totally agree with that. I just talked about Goldberg, how I got that video up. I do not like part-timers coming in. You look at WWE, we got part-timers with the champions. With the championships, Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, and you just do not see that in the women's division. Anytime you see a part-time wrestler come up, it's either in the Women's Royal Rumble, or you can have a dream match like Trish Stratus and Charlotte Flair was. I'm going to get into that later on as well. But you don't see part-time women's wrestlers taking up the title, so I totally agree with that. As for what I love about women's wrestling, I love the fact that the narrative has completely shifted. Like, no longer are we in the days of women being objectified, being used for their looks. We are now talking about women for their abilities in the ring, on the mic, and the whole narrative has changed from when I was a kid to when I was a little kid, when women wasn't even treated as important in wrestling, to my adolescence when they were being objectified to the point to now they're being considered as good as the guys, if not better, in my opinion. So that's what I love about women's wrestling. I love that the narrative has completely shifted around. So we are going to get into our topics of the day, and first up, we're going to start with Beth Phoenix, ladies and gentlemen. Beth Phoenix was out on Monday Night Raw, the main event promo slot, and she did a phenomenal job. We had a face-off with Beth Phoenix and Orton. She did a phenomenal job, came across as a caring wife, a caring mother, and she was disgusted with Randy Orton's actions. And I gotta say that this was a phenomenal promo, a phenomenal moment on Raw as we build into Edge versus Orton at WrestleMania. I enjoyed the fact that darn Randy Orton, man, like, he had the most twisted reason. Man said that he took Edge out so that he could be a family, so that Edge could be a family man, so that he could get him back to his family. And like, here's what I found funny about the whole thing. Randy Orton worked the crowd so good to the point to where they bought into his twisted reasoning, and for like 5 to 10 seconds they started applauding him. I was sitting there like, bro, are the fans really clapping for him? Wait a minute. And that was a hilarious thing. Another hilarious thing is, okay, the fans are chanting RKO the entire promo. When Randy Orton hits the RKO, they pan to the fans, you just see shocked faces all over the crowd. I'm like, y'all was chanting it for like 5 to 10 minutes. What y'all shocked for? Y'all knew what we was here for. Y'all knew Randy Orton was coming out. Y'all knew what Beth Phoenix was taking the RKO. Y'all acting like y'all surprised or something. Get out of here. One thing I did not like about this whole thing was, you mean to tell me that Beth Phoenix needs help after taking one RKO? We're talking about Beth Phoenix, the Glamazon. Beth Phoenix, who was just in the Women's Royal Rumble with a busted head, for goodness sakes, and wrestling throughout the whole match. You mean to tell me that Beth Phoenix needs help getting up, one of the most powerful women in WWE history? And I'm like, she deserves better. Like, let her take the RKO, get back up, and we fade to black like that. I didn't believe that Beth Phoenix needed all that help. Overall, it was a phenomenal segment, one that I extremely loved. Beth Phoenix did a terrific job. Cut a terrific promo on Randy Orton. Did not want to shake his hand. I'm not gonna get into why I'm laughing about that, but Beth Phoenix did a great job. I'm gonna move on to the next topic. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna talk about Becky Lynch, and I gotta say that we're staring down the barrel of Becky Lynch possibly and Shayna Baszler at WrestleMania. We still have the Elimination Chamber match to get into, but it's looking like Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler. And look, man, I gotta say, Becky Lynch came down Monday night. Shayna Baszler was facing off with Kairi Sane, and man, I gotta say that I watched her as she talked about the match, as she was on commentary, and it just hit me that, man, Becky Lynch has just lost momentum, man. And she is just not the same Becky Lynch as she was once before. And I gotta go back to a point that I made months ago. Months ago. I said that it has occurred to me that Becky Lynch is just a better chaser than she is a champion. Becky Lynch is better when she has something to be mad at. Becky Lynch is better climbing the mountain than she is at the top of the mountain. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that she is a better chaser than champion. And I gotta say, part of that is due to the fact that she has never adapted her character. Well, I won't say never. She just hasn't adapted her character since winning the title, since becoming the man, since winning the title. She hasn't adapted her character. And like, what made Becky best was when she was getting held down, was when she wasn't the champion. And now that she is the champion, now that she is the man, there's nothing to be mad at. And when there's nothing for Becky to be mad at, like, her character is not all that great in my opinion. It is not all that intriguing in my opinion. So here it is. We got Becky Lynch, we got Shayna Baszler, and the feud has lost a tad bit of luster in my opinion. Like, when Shayna Baszler bit the neck out of Becky Lynch, like she just bit her neck off, we just not gonna go there. There was still some, it was like, what the hell was that? But it was still some interest in the feud. We were still excited to see it. Now it's just like, okay, let's just get to this build because we're starting to lose a little bit of steam here. I'm gonna give it a chance. I want to see how it plays out. Maybe once we get well into March past Elimination Chamber, we'll get excited as we get closer to WrestleMania. But Becky Lynch has lost a little bit of momentum, and I really think that she's gonna gain it back once she loses the title, presumably to Shayna Baszler at WrestleMania. So moving on, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna move on to a very interesting topic. This is kayfabe. We had a tweet go out from This Is Kayfabe, and it's like I don't know if it's a wrestling company. We'll see what it is. It's a lot of questions going behind it, but it involves Lita, it involves Christy Hemme and Gail Kim, and a host of others. So they're talking about what it's gonna be at this point. We don't know a whole lot about it, so I can't do a deep dive, as much of a deep dive as I would like to, but I really like what they had to say as to what they will be bringing forward. So I gotta say that I saw the promo that they put out on it, and they were talking, and immediately when I seen it, I seen familiar faces. So when I believe that when you have a new company or new whatever this is going to be, you got to provide me with some familiar faces, especially as it pertains to wrestling, whether it be AEW. When they was just coming on, guess who they got? Chris Jericho. when it comes to this company or TV show or whatever it's going to be, we have familiar faces. I know Lita, I know Christy, I know Gail Kim. So I think that they did a great job from that aspect. When Lita, Christy, and Gail were talking about what the promotion or the television show is going to be, they said that it will be presented unlike anything we've ever seen. So they have my attention there, because the last time I seen something that was presented unlike anything else in wrestling, it was Lucha Underground. And I gotta say that was so captivating, because it was unlike anything I'd ever seen. It was really good. It was really intriguing. So I'm interested to see where they go there. They said that they will tell truths that have never been told before in wrestling. And you know what? Okay. I'm not sure where they're going with that, but they have my attention here. And they showed the video promo for the promotion, and it seems like a show about not just wrestling, but life outside of wrestling. And I gotta say that would be very, very different from the normal wrestling promotion. And I would be highly intrigued if it went down like that. So this is kayfabe. That is their Twitter handle, and I implore you to follow it, to check it out, to continue to see what it's all about. I think they have a Kickstarter going as well, so if you want to donate to that, just go to This Is Kayfabe, at This Is Kayfabe on Twitter. It's very interesting, and I gotta say that I'm very interested to see where it goes. So, speaking of interesting, ladies and gentlemen, I was on Twitter, I want to say last week, a couple weeks ago, whatever it was, and a tweet from Trish Stratus came out that we're gonna see right here, right now. It's a video that came out, and it was very interesting, excuse me. So we're gonna check that out right now.
Whoa! Yeah, you know who that is? That's Trish Stratus.
Oh.
So you see that video, and the first thing I see is 20 years of Stratusfaction. Man, I'm old, bro. Like, where did the time go? And like, obviously toward the end of the video, or at the end of the video, you see Trish and Sasha Banks facing off at that Royal Rumble. And the first thing, you know, wrestling fans, like, you give us a hint, we gonna turn into the Scooby-Doo Patrol. We gonna try to figure that thing out. Like, is this gonna go down at WrestleMania when we getting Trish and Sasha Banks? Everybody's excited. So I gotta say that, yes, I was excited, but man, the first thing I thought was, man, it's too late. Like, the match, as I brought up earlier in this podcast, Trish versus Charlotte Flair, that should have been Trish Stratus versus Sasha Banks. When they had that face down or face off at that Royal Rumble, I was like, okay, do this at Mania this year. Like, it should have went down that year. So it feels too late. Obviously, it would still be exciting if Sasha Banks and Trish Stratus went down at WrestleMania, but it just does not have the sizzle that it once did, in my opinion. However, I would still be willing to check it out. Us wrestling fans, boy, you give us hints, boy. We're going to try to figure this thing out. Kind of like AEW in the Dark Order. We trying to figure that thing out. But moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on to Taya versus Tessa Blanchard. Taya Valkyrie versus Tessa Blanchard. History was made last Tuesday night. The Impact World Champion was on the line, and two ladies were facing off with it. There is a subplot that I want to get to as well, but the match was good enough. Tessa Blanchard retains her title, her world title, but a subplot I want to get to is this. Obviously, I love the fact that two women are going at it for the world title. Like, it is very empowering. It is groundbreaking. It is all of those things. However, in my opinion, the Knockouts title has been devalued. Like, okay, Taya Valkyrie had the longest reigning reign or what have you with the Knockouts title, and she loses the title to Jordynne Grace, and the first thing she does is go after Tessa Blanchard. Like, she doesn't want her rematch at her title. Like, she doesn't want to take Jordynne Grace down. Like, to me, right then and there, that devalued the Knockouts title. So, like, here's my thing. Why should women even go for the Knockouts title at this point? Why not go for the world title? Taya Valkyrie did it. Like, Taya Valkyrie was the longest reigning Knockouts champion, and the first thing she did was go after the world title. Like, I'm not going to say that she doesn't care about the Knockouts title, but clearly the world title is of more importance. And I said this at the start when Tessa Blanchard was going for the world title, and when it was obvious that she was going to win it, I said it at the start that this may devalue the Knockouts title, and here we are, and the Knockouts title is being devalued. That's just my opinion on the situation. Like, Jordynne Grace is a phenomenal champion, but at what cost? Like, Tessa Blanchard won the championship, but at what cost to the Knockouts title? And the Impact has a great Knockouts division, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna get some great stories to come out of that division for the Knockouts title. But when your longest reigning champion does not even go for the title, when she goes directly for the world title, it devalues the Knockouts title, in my opinion. I'll give it a chance to see how it works out going forward, but I did not like when Taya versus Tessa Blanchard was going down when it was being promoted. I said, yes, that's going to be history making, but I don't like it because first, I'd at least rather Taya Valkyrie go after Jordynne Grace first. Then maybe we can get Taya and Tessa Blanchard at some point. That's just my opinion. We'll see how this situation plays out going forward. So we are going to move on, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to move on into the Bella Twins, and quite the discussion took place when the Bella Twins were announced for the Hall of Fame, and they had a lot of people going back and forth. Are they worthy of the Hall of Fame? Are they Hall of Fame worthy? And I gotta say that if we're talking about the WWE Hall of Fame, are they Hall of Fame worthy? I'm gonna say yes, because there's a lot of people that are questionable in the WWE Hall of Fame. To me, if you're gonna say that the Bellas aren't WWE Hall of Fame worthy, then we got to go back and relitigate that entire Hall of Fame of people that I don't feel are Hall of Fame worthy. But here's the thing: the Bellas are WWE Hall of Fame worthy, but have they had Hall of Fame careers? True Hall of Fame careers? That's when I say no, they haven't. When we talk about the Bella Twins, I want to go in ring. Like, what have they done as wrestlers? Like, what is the memorable moments that they have had as wrestlers? What are the memorable matches that they have had as wrestlers? What is the memorable promo that they've had? Like, the most famous Bella promo to me, and I'm not even joking here, is when AJ Lee ripped apart Total Divas. That was the biggest Bella promo. When I talk about the Bella Twins and their promos, like, that's the first thing that comes to mind to me. Like, what is the rivalry that they've had that is, has stood out in the women's division? I cannot think of one. Even going down to character, like, I'm not really, I haven't been sold on their characters, like, talking about it. So here's the deal, man. When we started, when the debate was going back and forth, the first thing I seen was, well, Total Divas. That was a big deal. And I gotta say, to a point, Total Divas brought eyes on the product, so it was a deal. I wouldn't necessarily, when we talk about what is the biggest reasons for the women's revolution, I wouldn't put Total Divas towards the top of the list. That's just my opinion, but I would put it on the list because it brought more eyes to the product. Look, man, if you want to argue Total Divas, that's all fine and well, but like, if you tell me that if the first thing you say is Total Divas, if the first thing you say is something that happened outside of the ring, then that further proves my point that the in-ring wasn't as great. Like, if we were to talk, if The Rock was to go in the Hall of Fame tomorrow, what would be the first thing that we talk about? The in-ring, the promos, the matches, the rivalries, all that stuff. We wouldn't talk about his movie career. That's just my opinion. Like, with the Bellas, I don't have anything against them. I just don't see, when I look back on their careers, I don't think they've had Hall of Fame careers. Like, for prime example, if we were to talk about the women of this era, Charlotte Flair is in the midst of having a Hall of Fame career. Like, Becky Lynch is gonna have a Hall of Fame career. Like, when you look at some of these ladies, like, yes, they have had Hall of Fame careers, but when I look back at the Bellas, they've been decent in the ring. They were decent on the promo at best, but like Hall of Famers, like, I don't see it. Even looking at when people say they were a big part in the women's revolution, like, I can't even go there. I can say that they were a part of the women's revolution. They played a part in the women's revolution, but when we talk about big parts of the women's revolution, like I just said, those 4 horsewomen, huge parts. The narrative shifted when they came on the scene. The narrative never shifted when the Bellas were full-time wrestlers. Like, that's just my opinion. Now, you can blame that on WWE. I'm not necessarily blaming that on the Bellas, but I'm saying that, you know what, the narrative shifted when those 4 women came along. And we look at across other promotions throughout the world, whether it's NXT or whether it's Impact, the list goes on and on and on. That's when the narrative shifted to me. Like, that's just my opinion. The Bella Twins have done some good things for WWE, but Hall of Fame worthy, like, no, I can't go there. That's just my opinion. I'm not trying to be mean about the situation. So, talking about other promotions, excuse me, NXT last night, Taya NOX versus Dakota Kai. We gotta hop into that. Cage match last night, really good decision to open the show. It was very physical early on. I like the fact that they used the cage. Dakota Kai used the cage, threw Taya NOX into the cage. We don't see that anymore in cage matches. Like, what happened to grinding the opponent's face into the cage, throwing them into the cage? I like that. Possibly the spot of the match, the Taya and NOX cross body from the top. I think that was from the top of the steel cage. Partly you could argue the fact that she should have just climbed down the steel cage instead of doing that. But come down to the end of the match, it was very creative. Raquel traps Taya NOX into the cage with the door. Dakota Kai picks up the victory. And I gotta say that this has been an entertaining feud so far. They had a hell of a match at the last takeover. I didn't like the ending. I don't think anybody liked that ending, but I enjoyed the match. I enjoyed this steel cage match, and I enjoy whatever else is to take place going forward from here on in. You got to believe that the rivalry is not over based on the end of the match last night. So moving on, we have the AEW Women's Division, and I'm here to say that I'm not as down on that division as, you know, some people really are down on it, but I'm not. I've enjoyed a lot of things that they've had going on with the women's division. The one thing that I would say that I need more of is I need more stories in the AEW women's division. Like, I seen that we had Big Swole, we had Chris Statlander, and they both got into Nyla Rose's face some weeks ago, but that was the only build for the title as we headed into AEW Revolution. Like, that was really it. And like, there's not enough stories in my estimation. There's a lot of WCW Cruiserweight coming in play here, to the fact that they're just telling women to just go out there, have a great match, and that will be the story. And like, I understand that from a certain point of view, but that's not always foolproof. If you go out there and you tell a great story, that is foolproof. Everybody will get invested into that. Not everyone. You can't go out there and have great matches every week and have people invested. That's not a foolproof plan. It could work, but it is not foolproof. I enjoyed what they did last night. Big Swole got some shine over the Librarian. We had Britt Baker on commentary. Maybe there's a feud going on there, and maybe, you know, there's some things coming down the pike. But I would just from a fan's advice, give us more stories, give the ladies more time on the promo. Let's see more than one ladies match a night from AEW on their shows. I would like that, and I think that would help out the division really well. But just give us more stories, more things to get invested into as it pertains to the ladies in AEW. I'm excited You know, Nyla Rose makes a good heel champion, and I enjoy a heel champion. Like, a heel champion that's going to have a long extending title reign, and we'll see if they build up a face to finally knock her down, whether that's Chris Statlander. My pick is Big Swole. I'm a huge fan of Big Swole. She does some incredible things. We'll see how it all turns out going forward. So moving into NWA, ladies and gentlemen, we had quite the thing go down. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. We had Thunder Rosa versus Melina for the heavyweight title. The match didn't go really long. Melina tried to escape, but there was Allison Kay there, the former champion. She wanted to get her a piece of Melina, and surprise, surprise, she was taken out by a spear from Camille. Camille and Thunder Rosa faced off at the end of the show. And I gotta say that I am very invested into this. I cannot wait to see how it turns out going forward. Like, they are doing a great job of storytelling in NWA. They have me invested into multiple feuds. And Thunder Rosa versus Melina, I'm very invested into that. We've been telling that story for a long time now. Thunder Rosa got the title. Now Melina wants it. She believes it's rightfully hers. She gave Thunder Rosa the shot. I'm invested into that. And Camille, how about this? Best known on the NWA Power for being next to Nick Aldis. And now she is a player in the women's division, a serious player in the women's division. And I want to see what she got. NWA has me invested there. I'm very excited to see if we are having a Camille versus Allison Kay feud. I think that would rock. I would very much enjoy that. And I want to see how it plays out with Thunder Rosa and Melina. And I think that it is going to be an interesting time. And you know what? I want to see how it all plays out. Thunder Rosa makes an excellent champion. I enjoy her. She's great in the ring, great on the promo. And you know what? I hope she has a lengthy title reign. So moving on to the final topic of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Bayley and the WrestleMania match for Bayley. Like, what are we going to... I've addressed this before on this podcast, but what is going to go down, ladies and gentlemen? Now that Sasha Banks is back, is it going to be Sasha Banks and Bayley? You know what? That's a match that a lot of people want to see. But I gotta tell you, the match that most interests me is the fact that, you know what? I want to see the title off of Bayley. Give me Naomi versus Sasha at WrestleMania. That is the match. When Sasha Banks came down last Friday night, I was like, man, there is Sasha. That's the boss. You know what? You don't really appreciate Sasha until she's gone for a long time, and then she comes back and she has that interest, and it's like, that is that woman. She is the top of the women's division. But when she comes back, she gets treated like the bottom of the women's division. She immediately takes a loss, and it's like, oh man, can we get some consistent booking for Sasha? But overall, Sasha Banks, Naomi, I don't care who gets the title from Bayley. That is the match. I think that is WrestleMania worthy. As I once said with Sasha and Bayley, like, I think the time they have missed their time to have them face off at WrestleMania. The sizzle is gone from Sasha Banks versus Bayley at WrestleMania. They should have did it 2, 3, 4 years ago. So Naomi and Sasha would be a tremendous feud. It is something that I very much want to see. We'll see how it plays out. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 102 is in the books. The ladies edition is in the books. Hit me up on Twitter at 2sweetpod and at OMG Corey B. Feel free to find me on YouTube at OMG Corey B. I am out.